Hey, there's a book I just finished today, Cornelius, La Alegre Vida del Triste Perro. This is the original Spanish edition, which is what I read, but there is an English edition that just came out, I think, in June 2025. So if you want it in English, it is available. I think, I want to say Drawn and Quarterly published it. I don't know. But let's take a look inside the original edition because the art is, as far as I know, the same. It's just the text is different. So it begins with this kind of an introduction talking about the history of this character and this kind of, affected alternate reality of where this was like a famous character published by in different ways. And so that's kind of something that I noticed right away in the book, is that there's all these different art styles, and not just art, but like styles of comics and storytelling that you get to witness. Like it begins in this very naturalist sort of way, which there's there's no talking dogs or anything. It's just a regular dog sniffing around. And I thought, okay, that was going to be the tone of the book. I didn't know what to expect. And then that was not the tone of the book at all. That's probably about as far from the actual tone of the book. So here's kind of a different example. I don't know how if this was published at all in any kind of newspaper format. It's possible, I guess, because some of these do stand alone. And there's like these. I heard about this book through Simon Hanselman, and if you know his comics, his Megahex comics, Meg and Mog, there's a similar feel in some ways to this, but not entirely. There's also, I mean, I see elements of Chris Ware, elements of Charles Burns, elements of Dan Clowes, a lot of Fantagraphics. This could have been published by Fantagraphics, but I think it was Drawn and Quarterly. But anyways, I'm of two minds about this book. First, it's a pretty long book, about almost 400 pages. And I'm not against that by any means if it's something that I'm enjoying. But the art was incredible. I feel like this guy, not just the art, but the design is absolutely incredible. This guy is a master of design elements and taking on different styles and doing pastiches. In that, I'm just in complete awe of his ability. I mean, this looks, I don't know exactly what he's doing here, but I recognize the style, and it's very European. Pages like this, I mean. So I think I like him best when he's doing work that is like pure comics, where there's either no dialogue or very little dialogue. And I like it least when there's a lot of text. So the introduction, the end notes, I flipped through that because it just wasn't working for me in the way that the actual pages are, where you're just immersed in these moments. Wonderful characters too. I thought incredible characters, and there's a lot about this book that I loved, but I feel like it was very long, and there were times when I was reading it was like there was like something happened, and then there's like 5 pages of just people talking about what happened and thinking about what happened. And I feel like you could have maybe converted this into like 150 page comic, and it would still be very powerful and very good. So I'm of mixed minds. I just finished it today, so I'm still kind of processing it. But there's like characters, and like the way that he introduces characters and situations and hints, and just is so sly about what's happening, and like so much weird stuff that's like, I was like, where is this going? And I love that part of it. I'm not going to reveal too much about what happens, but there is a crime committed, and how Cornelius, the main character, is involved with that it's the crime is like at the center of the book in the beginning, and then it kind of gets forgotten and drifts away. And Cornelius kind of goes on these tangents about he wants to become an author. He wants to, he meets this girl he does like cocaine at a like all these weird things that just happen. And then these other characters, these kind of investigators, are introduced. and it really goes off in a million different directions, which is what I liked about it. It's just like I said, the parts where nothing really happens and characters are just talking and thinking. I think some of those pages go on for a bit too long, but I still do like this guy's sense of art and design, the storytelling, and how he just, butchers a bunch of different styles. How ironic that as I do this comic about a dog, my dog barks. How apropos. So it goes through things like that. So this is a page where I feel like I like that he goes into this really limited abstract style, but then the text is like, it was almost annoying. Like I didn't want to even read the text. It was just so wonderfully interesting and challenging book, but wonderful characters, wonderful sense of design. I think if you like any of those artists or writers that I mentioned before, then, or if you like dogs, maybe this is a book for you. Even as like manga styles, this isn't the manga style. Well, there's some manga elements in this, but a lot of different styles. So this is a kind of a work that like I'm not completely satisfied with it, but it was fascinating enough that I will definitely check out this guy's work in the future. I'm just not sure how long I'm gonna have to wait for that, because I think this came out in 2023, but he really started, he says, around like 2018. So who knows when we'll get the next work from this guy. But I'm hoping that to read more by Marc Torices. Check it out. I believe, like I said, the English edition is published by Drawn and Quarterly. So check it out in a comic book store near you or somewhere.